Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear children. Hope you're all doing good and enjoying good health. Today is 30th June 2020 and it's Tuesday. I'm your teacher, Yasmin Akhtar. So let's get started our today's work. Okay, so today we are going to learn about tenses. The word tense comes from the Latin word tempus, which means time. Just moving on to the next slide, it means that tenses are related to time. Dear children, can you hear me? Okay, so here I'm going to tell you about tenses. As I've told you earlier, tenses are related to time. They tell us about time. There are three types of tenses. Past tense, present tense, and future tense. How many types of tenses are there? Past tense, present tense, and future tense. Dear children, look at the examples are here. I studied English. In the next example, I study English. You know, here we have used the verb studied, but here we have used the verb study. In the future, I will or shall study English. You know, we usually use shall with I, but nowadays we can use will with also I. So in the first example, I study English. Here, you look at the verb here. Here, the verb study tells us that the action took place in the past, which is over now. Got my point here? Which is over now. But here, I study English. Look at this verb. The verb study tells us that action is taking place in the present. The action is taking place at the moment. So here in this sentence, I will study English. It tells us about that action will happen in the future. So dear children, verbs studied, study, you know very well the verbs tell us more about action. But here the verbs not only tell us about the action, but it also tells us about the time of the action, when the action took place. Dear children, it is actually the verb. It is actually the verbs which decide the tense of the sentence. So dear students, please try to join the class on time. Okay. So, okay, so we talked about the three tenses, past, present, and future. Well, look at here, as I have told you earlier, the verb studied. It tells us about that action took place in the past, whereas the verb study tells us about that action is happening right now. That's why we use simple present tense. And here, I will study English. This sentence is in future tense. It tells us about that action will happen in the future here. So got my point here? So it is the verb which decides about the tense of the sentence. In other words, to make it a more simplify, past, present, and future. Past means all the action which took place in the past, yesterday, last night, last week, comes under the category of past tense. Whereas all the actions happening right now at the moment, they come under the category of present tense. Or all the action which will happen in future, they come under the category of future tense. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, next week, next month, etc. So it is the verb which will decide the tense of the verb. Dear children, you have done two forms of verbs. Study and study is the first form of verb, and study is the second form of verb we have used. So now moving to the next slide. So our today's topic is simple present tense. Simple present tense can also be called, so today's topic is simple present tense. Simple present tense can also be called as a present indefinite tense. So the other name of simple present tense is present indefinite tense. Present indefinite tense. Yes, you have to say with me. So moving to the next slide, let's see what the simple present tense is all about. Okay. Simple present tense tells something that happens again and again in the present time. Simple present tense tells something that happens again and again in the present. Our regular actions come in this category. Things we do every day. For example, she likes singing. My mother cooks delicious food. So all the actions, all the things we do every day, we use simple present tense for them. Moving on to the next slide, there are a few examples. For example, Ali likes to play cricket. I usually go for shopping on Sundays. I go to school by bus. So dear children, here we have talked about those things and those actions we do every day. Our repeated actions, our regular actions, we use simple present tense. And here were a few examples there. Now moving on to the next slide. Here we are going to know about the different uses of present tense. Present tense, it is used to, okay, so present tense, it is used to describe facts or general truth, okay? For things which are always true, universal truth. For universal truth or things which are always true, we use simple present tense. Look at here, example. The earth revolves around the sun. It is a universal fact. It's a universal truth. It cannot be changed. The earth revolves around the sun. Next example, the stars shine at night. This is a universal truth. That's why we use simple present tense. I live in Pakistan. This is also true. It gets too cold in winter. Is it so? It's a natural phenomena that during the winters, we feel cold, so it gets too cold in winter. So here, all the things which we have mentioned are there, all the things are always true as they are facts. So we use simple present tense. There I'll tell you, now I'm going to tell you some more examples of universal truth, of universal facts which can't be changed, like the sun rises in the east. Cats catch mice. Birds fly. Triangulars have three sides. Now, here is I'm going to tell you another use of simple present tense. It is It is used to talk about daily routine and habitual actions. To mention our daily routine and for habitual actions, we use simple present tense. Example is given. I brush my teeth twice a day. He wakes up at 7 o'clock. She plays tennis every day. So dear children, these were all the uses of to mention of our daily routine and our habitual action. To mention our daily routine and for our habitual actions, we use simple present tense. Now, moving on to the next slide, here I'm going to tell you about another use of simple present tense. It is used to describe feelings and emotions. Feelings and emotions. It is used to describe feelings, emotions, thoughts, and opinions. For example, they like to read books. She likes to eat pizza. So dear children, if I talk about the opinion, he is an honest man. We can describe our opinions and thought about something and someone in simple present tense. She is a talented girl. Moving on to the next slide. So here another use of simple present tense. It is used to describe scheduled events in the future. Scheduled events mean the events which are set. For example, timetables of school, bus, and play. For mentioning the schedules, for mentioning the timetables of school, bus, and plane, we use simple present tense. For example, the train leaves at 9 o'clock, means the set time for the train to leave at 9 o'clock here. My school starts at 8 o'clock. Dear children, as you know that we usually follow a timetable for the school. So here we use simple present tense. We use simple present tense to show about for mentioning our daily routine, for mentioning about schedules. Okay, Marush and Wafa, how are you? Are you listening? Marush and Wafa, are you listening? Sahil, can you hear me? That's good. Are you getting children? Yes, very good. Okay. So now I have talked about the different uses of present tense. I'm talking about here that we use simple present tense for mentioning that timetable and schedules of school, bus, planes like this. Okay. Now moving on to the next slide. Okay. Use of adverb in simple present tense. So dear children, you know what is an adverb? You have done this adverb in parts of speeches. Adverb tells more about verb. Adverbs tells more about verb. So let's see how we use adverb in simple present tense. We use this tense to talk about things that always, usually, often, sometimes, or never happen. The keywords here: always, usually, often, sometimes, never, seldom. These all words are called adverbs of frequency. Say with me, what are they called? Adverbs of frequency. Because they tell us, they show how often something happens. They show us how often something happens. I'll tell you the examples of this. Moving to the next slide. Okay, I never tell a lie. Never is here adverb of frequency. And dear students, here I'm going to tell you one very important thing is here. Tell is a verb and never is adverb of frequency. We always use adverb of frequency before the main verb. He often goes to park. See here, often. Often is adverb of frequency and goes is the main verb. I usually go for a walk in the evening. So usually is adverb of frequency and go is the main verb. Okay. I sometimes play football. Sometimes here is adverb of frequency and play is a main verb. So dear children, we use adverb of frequency to show how often an action happens. Okay, dear children, now you can see here there are three columns here. You can see on your left side, percentages are mentioned, 100%, 90%. So these percentages, they are associated with the frequency of adverbs. Look at here, 100%, always. Always means 100%. It means that when something is done, it means that when something happens 100% of the time, we use always. When something happens 100% of the time, we use always. Jenna always talks too loud. Means she always talks too loud. Okay, there is no exception. When something happens 100% of the time. The opposite of always is never. The opposite of always is never. You can see the percentage I have mentioned here, that is 0. Mean there is 0 possibility of happening this action. It never happens. I never get to bed before 11. So it means that this action never happens. Got my point here? Now look at here. 50%, sometimes. Their percent, sometimes, what does it mean? When an action happens, half of the time we use sometimes. For example, my eyes sometimes get red and itchy in the summer. It means that sometimes they do and sometimes they do not. Got my point here? So we use sometimes to show something happening for the 50%. Got my point here? Always means 100% when action is done 100% of the time. 0 mean when there is no possibility of happening an action. 50% when we do an action some of the time, and half of the time we don't do. So the usually means 90%, normally 80, often 70, occasionally 30, seldom 15%, rarely 5 here. So these are basically percentages they have just given to show the frequency of adverbs. So let's summarize what we have done up till now. This is simple present tense. Tells something that happens again and again in the present. Again and again in the present. It is, for example, if I say, I like to read books. I like to drink coffee in the morning. Now the next use of simple present tense is it is used to describe universal facts or general truth. The things which are always true and universal truth. For example, the sun rises in the east. It is used to describe feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, your opinion, your likes, your dislike. He likes playing tennis. The opinion, she is a nice girl. Got my point here? And it is also used to describe scheduled events in the future. Timetable of school, bus, plane, etc. For mentioning the schedules of timetables of school, we use the simple present tense. Now, dear children, we use this tense to talk about things that always usually, we use this tense to talk about things that always, usually, often, sometimes, or never happens. What are they called, dear children? As I have told you earlier, Usually, always, often, sometimes. They are called adverbs of frequency. We use adverbs of frequency in simple present tense, and we place them adverb of frequency before the main verb. I always speak truth. Always is adverb of frequency and speak is the main verb here. Now, moving to the next slide. Yes. Okay, dear children. Now I'm going to ask you the question. You have to identify the situation. Now you're going to tell, I'm asking you, and you have to tell me this, identify the situation. Either it is a routine, either it is a universal fact, or habitual action, or scheduled events in the future. Okay, now I'm asking Sahil. Sahil, please raise your hand. Sahil, please tell me, the talk show starts at 9 p.m. What is it? Is it a routine or universal fact or habitual action or schedule? What is this? Unmute yourselves. Yes. What is it? Sahil, please tell me. Yeah, say. Yeah, it's a scheduled events in the future. The talk show. The time is set. That's why we use simple present tense. Okay. Next. Next. Now I'm asking a question to Kanita. Kanita, raise your hand. Okay. It gets hot in summer. Please identify the situation. What is it? Yeah. Where's Kanita? Yes.
Yes.
Tell beta. Identify the situation. Yes, tell me. It is a...
Universal fact.
Yes, that's good. It is a universal fact because it remains the same. That's good. Okay. Now, the next question I'm going to ask to Amar Ahmed. Amar, can you hear me? Amar, can you hear me? It's Amar is written over here. Yeah. Okay. Just tell me, I offer prayers 5 times a day. What is it? Is it a routine? It's a universal fact or habitual action or scheduled events in the future? Hurry up. It's a, yeah, it's a routine. It's a routine, yes. Now moving to the last one. Okay, who is this? Ramin? Okay, no. I'm going to ask Muhammad Awais Mahmood. Awais, can you hear me? He's Awais. Awais, can you hear me? Yes. Tell me, she speaks truth. What is it? Identify the situation. Hurry up. One is left. Easy for you. It is? Yeah. It is a habitual. Yes, Abdul Rafi. Abdul Rafi. Abdul Rafi. Yes. I'm going to ask. Yes. Yes, Abdul Rafi, you tell.
Ma'am, schedule events in the future?
Yes.
I think.
It's a habitual action. Yes. Okay. Okay. So here we have talked about the different situations here that we use for, and we use simple present tense for them. Okay. Now, dear children, so let me repeat it all. The talk show starts at 9 p.m. It's a scheduled events in the future. It gets hot in summer. It's a universal fact. I offer prayers 5 times a day. It's a routine. She speaks truth. It's a universal fact. Next, moving to the next slide. Next slide. Do you remember? Yesterday I gave you this homework. Have you done? Yesterday we learned about articles. So here is a home assignment checking for you. So you can check your homework, either you have done right or wrong. So let's revise it. Exercise is you have to add a, an, or the. Yesterday we did about article, so you can check it here. Okay, last year I went into a big sports shop. What will come here? A, because big begins with a consonant letter B. Because I wanted a sports shop. Here we have used a before sports shop because it begins with a consonant letter. An assistant came up to me. I told him what I wanted. We have used and before assistance because assistant begins with a vowel letter A. Now, dear children, the assistant brought me 3 different bags. You know, we have used the here because the assistant is repeated here. We have talked about the assistant before. That's why we are using the here. I chose the smallest one and paid for it. You know, we have used the before smallest. Yesterday, if you remember, I have told you about the uses of the. The one uses of the is when it's a superlative degree, we use the before it. Now again, the assistant, as it was mentioned before, put the bag. Again, bag, I have used the because now we have used it, we are repeating the bag. First time we have used a, but second time if we are using a noun, if the noun is repeated, we are using the. In a large plastic bag, L, it's a consonant sound, so we are using a. He did so, but he looked very unhappy as I walked out of the shop. Is that clear? Is it clear? Is it clear to all of you? This was your homework check. More participants. Okay. So now, dear children, now before we end our lesson, let us revise. Just let me recap the few points which we have done. Today, we have learned about simple present tense. Say with me, simple present tense. Simple present tense is used to tell about your daily routine or habitual actions, universal truth, general truth, for the things which are always true, for our daily routine, for our habitual actions, for our scheduled events. We use and to describe our likeness, dislikeness, to describe, to express our opinions, thoughts. We also use simple present tense. Is that clear to you? Now, if any one of you can tell me, if I ask you, you can describe me your daily routine in one sentence. I need one sentence of your daily routine. More students. I'll ask you, okay, I will ask this question to, okay, Hashir, raise your hand. Hashir, can you tell me any sentence in simple present tense? Describe me your daily routine. Any sentence of your daily routine, yes. What are you doing nowadays? When do you wake up?
I go to school in my bus.
Very good, very good. Now I will ask the question to Ehtisham and Mohammed. Okay, Mohammed Ehtisham. Can you tell me one sentence of your daily routine?
Yes.
Yes. Ehtisham, where is he? Yes. Tell me.
I wake up at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. Now comes to the, now I will ask a question to, okay, Nofil. Nofil, raise your hand. Can you hear me? Yeah. Nofil, please tell me one sentence. Describe your daily routine in a one sentence using simple present tense. Shabash. Try to tell me.
I have a big bag in my house.
Okay. Now, okay. The next is, I'm going to ask one more question. Yes, now, who is this? Maniha. Maniha or Maniha? Can you hear me? Raise your hand. This one. Make a sentence. Use always in your sentence. Okay. Make a sentence of always using simple present tense. Tell me, beta. Maniha. Make a sentence.
Yes.
Make a sentence of always. Yeah. Shabash, hurry up. Try it.
Always go to school.
Yeah, I always go to school. Okay. Yes, Muhammad Masood. Can you make a sentence of sometimes? Make a Yeah. Unmute yourself. Muhammad Masood, unmute yourself.
Allergy.
Okay. That's good. Mute. So moving to the, okay, thank you so much for your attention. Thanks. Okay, today we have learned about simple present tense. Inshallah, we will continue our class. We'll learn more about simple present tense tomorrow. So, Allah Hafiz, fi aman Allah, goodbye, take care. We'll see you in next class. Bye.